I don't know whether there was a kind of realization as such, particularly at a particular point in my life, but it's just that I was the first generation of people who were growing up after independence. So really, the first generation after the colonial rule had ended, and so it was I think a very exciting time for many because a new country was being formed. My father had been appointed by the British as one of the civil servants, like Indian civil service, and for which you have to sit a competitive examination. There were very few Muslims. So he was among the ones who had got in, and then he was also, as all of them were, the British would take them to Oxford or Cambridge, so he had his stint at Oxford, and he came back with all these ideas of what now modern world has to be. And after independence, of course, I was very young at the time, but he was appointed to head very large kind of development projects, like Lahore city was being developed, so he was head of the development agency, and many new schemes were floated in his time. And he was, I think, thinking all the time about how you have to create a modern Pakistan. And then he also was engaged in something called Thal Development Authority, which was a huge desert. Many new cities were developed. And so he would come and often talk about the dearth of professionals like architects and planners. And he said, how will we build a new nation when there are not enough of those? And I think that somehow stayed with me. I was very young at the time, but it stayed with me. And so when the time came and we went to England, to the UK, to London, and that was in my mind that I had to become an architect to be able to go back and serve my country. I thought that was the only way I could do it for some reason. So that's how I got into architecture. Again, it's not like sudden. It's not never. I don't think it's ever a sudden kind of realization. I think everything grows over time, and I guess it must have been with me that I need to do something different because, of course, it was very exciting, and I got some opportunities which not many architects had by that time, and so it was all all happening in the sense that I could design what I wanted. I had the commissions. I could. I was recognized. So one felt that you had the opportunity to do whatever you wanted in terms of design and creating whatever you thought would be the best kind of building ever. But then I realized that more and more I've gotten into the corporate sector world. And I felt that when you look at it deeply, you suddenly find that every commission is like very similar to the other one, and it's all the same kind of briefs, the same kind of impressive, iconic structures they all want, and as architects you feel, well, this is your chance to show. But how many times can you show just that? I felt that this is like coming to a dead end. And at some point in time, I decided that was not for me, and I wanted to do my more writing. We had set up the Heritage Foundation in 1980. We got my husband, who actually had been running an insurance company, had decided to sell it and retired, and he became an author. He became a very eminent historian. So he had begun to write, and we felt there was so much material that we had collected was not being compiled. And I thought, well, I should be writing my own books as well. I had done a couple of them, and I thought I could do it. So I thought, well, I should be doing the same thing. And why am I trying to pander to the taste of, people who because they are wealthy? Yeah. And I guess it just happened. So I decided I didn't want to do it anymore. That's all. But the view of humanitarian work is quite different. I didn't know what it was. I had no idea. I decided to try to really write my books. I wasn't going to do very much. It just happened that I'd done a couple of books on Karachi, and this little guidebook had come out. And then suddenly I got, all these very eminent people coming and saying, we did not know Karachi, but there's such fantastic architecture. And so we need to celebrate. So I said, okay, I'm here, I can help whatever. But suddenly grew into a movement like Caravan Karachi started to happen, and we were sitting on streets of Karachi. For the first time I sat on streets of Karachi, never had done it before. And I found it was just amazing how many people were interested in heritage.